As Auburn gets prepared for the Sugar Bowl, a lot of guys also preparing for the NFL draft. Certainly a lot of guys in question at Auburn right now, a handful of them anyways. To talk about that right now, James Crepea joins me now on the Plains. And James, just the thought of that. I know these guys are trying to focus on the Sugar Bowl, but you know that decision has to be made very soon. Who are some guys that you're kind of looking at that could possibly leave for the NFL draft early at this point in the game?
Well, it has to start with Carl Lawson. I think it's been a foregone conclusion really since he announced that he was coming back last year that this was going to be his last year. I know he's a junior. He's got a year of eligibility left, but a fourth-year junior. And you go back to the preseason at Fan Day, Carl sat with the senior class. That's the class he came in with. You go to Senior Day against Alabama A&M, and he went out and was acknowledged with the seniors. Again, the senior class, the signing class that he came in with. You could chalk it up to that and just say that those are his peers and those are the players he came in with, or you could say he's doing that because he wants the senior experience because this is his last go-around. Let's face it, he's a projected first-round draft pick. Those guys don't come back. He had a heck of a year. He was fully healthy. He's accomplished all the things he wanted to do on a personal level. It would be hard to see him coming back. There are other players, though, at Auburn, as you alluded to, who would be considering as far as early entries. Look, Daniel Carlson is eligible to go to the draft, and kickers don't go early very often, but there's not much out there left to prove for Daniel Carlson. So he's touched on it a bit. He's not sure. He mentioned at the Groves banquet that he plans on being back there again next year. So that should give Auburn fans a lot of excitement that they could have the best kicker in football back again, possibly. His younger brother is going to be enrolling at Auburn and joining as a kicker as well. So that could be a redshirt possibility where two brothers could be on the team. The younger redshirting while the elder at that point is going through his final year of eligibility. So that could be interesting, although he could go. We don't know yet. Other players. Cameron Pettway is eligible. It's possible. 1,000-yard backs, especially in the Power 5, usually don't stick around. But that said, he didn't have really any body of work at all before this season. So it's just hard to project there. He's also got some personal things that are just a little bit different factors. He's married with a child that are just a little bit different than other players. Not to say that that means he's going or coming back, just not sure yet with him. Braden Smith also eligible, but guards usually don't go early. So that's just a sample of some of the players we're taking a look at.
Yeah, very interesting points you make there, and it'll be interesting to see what these guys decide. Now, of course, aside from the NFL draft, you also have to consider transfers. There will be some positions where guys are waiting, 3 and 4 deep on the depth chart. What are some areas that you think we need to kind of keep our eye on in terms of possible transfers down the line?
Well, there's always 3 areas on this roster that I take a look at. You start at quarterback, where, look, we've already spoken with John Franklin III about the possibility of a graduate transfer or what he would look to do. Because he came in, as we all know, as a junior college transfer, hoping to win the starting job. That didn't happen, and he's seen very limited opportunities, especially in the passing game. If he is dead set on playing quarterback, it seems like, especially with Sean White coming back and this program recruiting both either a Jarrett Stidham or many other quarterbacks out there, it's hard to foresee how John Franklin III is going to win the starting job over a 2-year returning starter or any other incoming player. If he wants to play that position in his final year, just a tough spot to say, does he absolutely have to come back to do that, or would he look to leave? He has said he intends to come back, but if they either ask him to change positions or that there's just that much more competition at quarterback, that would be one area to look at. I also look at the offensive and defensive line. Auburn's talked about trying to get 5 or 6 offensive linemen in the signing class. They lose a couple of guys between Robert Leff at right tackle, Alex Kozan at left guard. They have Austin Golson at center coming back. Braden Smith, we alluded to already, could be coming back, likely coming back. And Darius James, the left tackle, coming back. They have players on the second line of that depth chart who could come up. But once you get down to the third line, you have to start saying for the players who were there and possibly 5 or 6 additions, for the guys who are returning, where do you fall in that mix, particularly if there's junior college transfers or something to that position? Where do you start to fall? And if you want to play, is this really the place there? So that's one area. And the other being on the defensive line. Same scenario where, again, Auburn's going to lose Montravius Adams, could likely lose Carl Lawson, but they do have talented players on the defensive line. It's a very deep area, deepest it's been in a long time. But always restocks, always reloads with numerous players each year. If they get several defensive linemen in the signing class, again, guys who are entering their second, third, maybe even fourth years, have to start to ask, is this the place to be for what they want to do playing-wise and opportunity? So those would be the 3 areas. Quarterback, offensive, and defensive line would be where I would look first as far as potential transfers, but hard to mention any names specifically, just too early to know.
Yeah, lots of decisions to be made, and of course, key moving parts here as we enter the postseason. Thank you so much for all your insight, of course, and for all your updates on the Auburn Tigers. You can visit us on AL.com.